Custard's last stand on the back of the Star. Health freak Ronaldo leads way as teammates ditch desserts. Is it going to be the lack of desserts that wins the Champions League for Manchester United? Graham Hunter is with us this morning. Graham, good morning to you. How are you?
In awe, JR. Only on OTB AM can you leap from an intense discussion about how JR super advisor can undress the Kerry County board to Custer's last stand in the space of 5 seconds. I think it's what in football they call brilliant transitions.
Hey. Speaking of brilliant transitions, is Cristiano Ronaldo, is it news that sugar is bad for professional athletes? Is this the stuff is this just puff? Or is there actually something more fundamental when somebody like Ronaldo arrives at a club like Manchester United that is striving to get to the point where they are champions and they behave like champions? Is there actually something in this, that there were some bits of Man United, the culture, that was wrong?
No, listen. Do you remember that fantastic interview where Roy Keane and his dog go walking with Gary Neville, and he goes, "Yeah, I had a terrible game. What was it, against Real Madrid? And it was an experiment with yoga 2 days before that had screwed him up." Manchester United didn't fail to beat Villarreal in Dansk or fail to be closer to winning the title last season because they were on the apple crumble. There's a really clear and easy way to talk about this, which is that Cristiano is patently not a fitness fanatic, but extreme. He's an extremist in making sure that there can be no habits that might creep in his mid-30s that can detract from him being the best, the most popular, brilliantly paid, potentially a winner. Now, there are there's a big history of the media, particularly those who design back pages and front pages and big lurid headlines saying, there's a little detail that seize on it and blow it out of all proportion. Do you remember when Gordon Strachan was winning the last league title, I think, for the Premier League, certainly with Leeds? He won the title in that team with Gary Speed and Graham McAllister and Cantona and whatever. And at one stage he said that he had porridge and bananas, whatever, for breakfast. And for years, it was like, if you don't eat porridge and bananas for breakfast, you're an idiot, you're a bad pro, this can make you play until you're 40. And Gordon was like, it's just one of my 1,000 habits that helped me be fit and live at an advanced age. I just live well. Now, Cristiano is a little bit more excessive than that, and that's all that's going on. It might be that because he's so particular about things outside any training regime he's had at any club. So, for example, when Walter Di Salvo, the Italian fitness trainer that was Cristiano's predilection in his last time at Manchester United, moved to Real Madrid, Cristiano stayed in close contact with him weekly, asking about, am I doing this, that, should I do this, that? When Cristiano was still at Manchester United, Di Salvo was at Real Madrid, and the level of trust Cristiano, even as a relatively young man then, middle 20s, had in somebody that could give him not an inch of advantage, a millimetre of advantage. He was dedicated to that because he still believes he can be named the greatest player of all time, not of the current era, but of all time. And he'll do anything, absolutely anything that's within his powers in order to achieve that. That's all we're talking about right now, honestly. So okay. I'm just chucking my tea to go with my apple crumble and custard.
I hope there's no sugar in it. Cristiano would not approve.
Bring it on, Cristiano.
Can we talk generally about, obviously we get right now to talk generally about the whole of the European competition and what we expect in terms of trends and where the relative power is. There's an assumption, and the bookmakers are certainly leaning this direction, that the addition of Messi to the front line at Paris Saint-Germain is a tipping point for that club in terms of reaching glory, and so they are the shortest price. But were there not a lot of other clubs in Europe who had really good pandemic transfers, off seasons, and talent recruitment? And actually, this is not a shoe-in for Paris Saint-Germain this season, surely.
Yeah, I don't want to be picky about that, but I don't think the odds are based on Messi. Messi's a big draw. he adjusts the odds. But if you look at Donnarumma coming in and competing with Kehler, so unless there's a big fallout there and he stabilises them, they've minimum improved the squad, and potentially, as good as Kehler is, improved the first team. Donnarumma is special. He's got things that Kehler doesn't have. I'm a big Kehler fan, and the reason that he's won so many Champions League, so many titles in his life, is that he's also a ferocious competitor. Donnarumma is notably different. Adding Ashraf is also an extraordinary boost to what was already a very tempting side and a pretty extraordinary squad. It's all right. If you go back to your point and say, it's not just adding Messi, but the likelihood is that he can click with Neymar, and click now that they kept Mbappe, is Mbappe likes to play off the left coming in, Messi likes to play off the right coming in. That's going to leave an enormous amount of potential for fullbacks, wingbacks to overlap and really devastate teams. Does it click? I've interviewed Pochettino already this season since the market closed, and he looked pale and interesting. He looked stressed, and I'm not saying he spoke in a way that said he was worried, but he agreed that it was about how to make this work harmoniously now. Harmonious in terms of pitch equilibrium, tactically, but harmoniously too, in that he's got such an ample squad. People are going to have to not take the pin when they're left out, rested, rotated, dropped even, call it what you want. There's a lot of fuss over why is Ramos not even showing in squads at the moment. Well, he came with an injury that was reported was going to take him until autumn to be fit for. So at the moment, I'm not particularly worried about the absence of Ramos. Let's assess what he looks like when he comes back. But I think they're overwhelming favourites for a good reason. They reached the final a couple of seasons ago. It's their dedicated goal. Maybe this more ample, more experienced, more aggressive, physically able squad that they've got now adds that little bit that they were missing, a little bit that they don't seem to be able to get, whether they're winning or losing Liga 1. It doesn't seem to be the right trampoline to be in perfect shape for the champions. I think that they're not a shoe-in, but if they click, if that squad, not the team, if the squad clicks, they should win the treble. They should be a short price to win their first ever treble.
It's an interesting one that you say it's not the ideal trampoline. Like, there is almost this sense, I presume, from Pochettino's perspective, Graham, that you're almost dancing around this idea of winning the Champions League for the entire season. Like, realistically, we're not going to have any idea of how close they are to winning it until February or March next year. That's a hell of a long phony war, really, assuming Paris Saint-Germain continue to win games in Ligue 1.
I know what you mean, but I think that by March we'll have a good idea, because I think there's a strong argument that if they are tactically sound and they can keep their key 6 or 7 players fit, match fit and injury free, then they're not just a match for any team. They should on the day be able to beat any team. Their games against Bayern Munich were astonishing last season, I thought. And I think they showed, I think this is something that Pep Guardiola talks about an awful lot. In the interview I did with him before the Champions League final last season, he said, yeah, this season there seem to be little moments of fortune that are going with us, that have gone against us before. And he said, you need that. Now, in the final, it didn't matter a damn, they lost. And the little moments of fortune went against them, the extraordinary Rudiger tackle, the taking up De Bruyne, blah, 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 blah. So Paris Saint-Germain can't account for that. And if anybody says it's not a factor, I think there's irregular seasons in the history of the Champions League when you don't pick out moments of really nice fortune for a winner. Sometimes it's been so out of the park that there's a clear team that will smash everybody else. I'm not certain PSG in this first season of knitting everybody together is like that. But by March, April, we'll know whether there's a click, whether there's a momentum, whether the squad are all pulling for each other and for the coach. And my point about Ligue 1 is it's a league you have to win. It's quite a physical league. It's quite an athletic league, but it doesn't test you in a whole heap of high-class ways. You're not coming across world-class footballers. You're coming across well-coached teams, competitive, aggressive squads. but it isn't that high-level test of concentration and can you keep a world-class opponent under wraps, which some of the other leagues, particularly in recent years, Spain and England, have had. So I still think, I say again, listen, it's going to be an interesting discussion watching it. If Puro Pochettino can't find harmony, then unfortunately we're going to find a new version of what Bayern called all those years, Hollywood FC. If Poch can't get them to pull together for one another, then it could be a horrible season for everybody in Paris. Right now, I would back that the will of the players who have gone there is so strong to dominate Europe, not just France. I still think that the bet you want to make is that they'll be highly competitive and potentially winners.
That's probably the thing that we actually sometimes forget, is that the owners obviously want to win this thing, but so does Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi desperately wants another Champions League medal as well, so there is that motivation. Just on, you mentioned Bayern there, Bayern-Barcelona tonight, or Barcelona versus Bayern, I should say, 8 o'clock kickoff. You famously predicted basically the 8-2 on this show before the game actually happened, so it's their first meeting since then. Is there a sense that either of these two teams are coming into this tournament under the radar? Because it does seem that it is the Group A matchup that looks like a preview of the final in most people's previews.
I think when you look at this match, it's extraordinary in its own right, because I've just finished writing a column for ESPN, so I can't bear not to mention the fact that every time Barca Bayern meet, there's something cataclysmic happened, from their first competitive meeting, which led to the sacking of Johan Cruyff, through each of the three meetings in the middle of the short series of games these two clubs have had in Europe. Really, if you think about their pedigree and their history, it's actually quite a concertina little stat of games. But 3 times they've met one another and the winner has gone on to win a treble. And I think how few clubs that have won a treble and how rarely it happens across the history of there being, the European Cup in this continent. Then there's the 7-0 under when Tito Villanova is in his single season, and the 8-2 last season. Right now, you can't. It's hard to see Barca even drawing this. They're not as far out of sight as they were when they went to Portugal to play that game that ended up 8-2. It was a single knockout punch. Bayern arrive in better physical shape, in better athletic shape. They're taller, they're faster, they are generally a winning machine. And Barcelona are not. There's a clutch of players, this many, in the team, not just in the squad, who've played once or twice, maximum 3 times since May. Ter Stegen has played once since May, and look, that he needed games. There's a heap of kids who, in the squad, at least on the bench, and who will get game time. Gavi, Nico, Ricky Puig, who don't really know anything about the Champions League. And they've got a new striker who hasn't played once with the team, Luke de Jong. He will play up front with Memphis. They're probably going to change formation. This won't look like Barcelona was a club that went, since the big thrashing under Bayern, they went 7, nearly 8 years and 38 straight games without defeat at home in the Champions League, scoring 112 times. And of the 38, 34 were wins. Now, since that time, their 2 home games in the Champions League, 7-1 defeat on aggregate, 3-0 to Juventus and 4-1 at home to PSG. And what should be frightening for Barca fans, and enjoyable for anybody who wants to see Barca getting socked in the chin after so many years of being pretty dominant, or at least there or thereabouts, is the fact that Bayern play in a similar way to Juventus and Paris Saint-Germain. Give or take this and that. The idea is press, rob, push, attack, play aerially, make sure that Busquets can enjoy his night. And really, to be honest with you, if Bayern don't win this at Camp Nou, where very recently Barcelona were indomitable, it'll be a major surprise. A draw will be a little lottery win for Barca.
That seismic moment that you mentioned with regards to Cruyff being sacked in the aftermath of a Bayern game, that was the UEFA Cup semi-final in '96?
That's it.
It's incredible to think that was actually the fixture, because when you said that, I immediately thought back to 98, 99, but of course that was a few years after Cruyff. So what were the circumstances in that situation? How bad was it, and how egregious a sacking was it?
Well, it was egregious because he was a great man whose teachings, not just his choices or his trophies, the way in which he structured the development of the club, but also the philosophy of the club. Once they lost it, they stumbled relatively shortly after a bit of Bobby Robson and a short spell of Van Hal into a 6-year spell with that trophy, during which guys who'd been selected under the Cruyff reign to come into the academy came through and formed this golden generation. Xavi and Puyol and Valdez and Piqué and so on and so forth. So Cruyff's worth was still great, it would prove, but the two at the top, Nunez and Gaspar, had lost faith. They went to Munich and drew 2-2. So at that stage, Barcelona looked very, very good to go through. It was the last chance of a trophy in 1995, 96. Cruyff was so uncertain about his future that a mid-season phone call he'd made to Zidane at Bordeaux to say, "Come here, son," he cancelled and said, "Listen, I'm not sure I'm going to be in charge." And when Bayern went 2-0 up at the Camp Nou, even though there was a late goal for De La Peña, which if there'd been one more for Barca, 2-2 in extra time on a 4-4 aggregate, it didn't happen. I think Cruyff lasted about 2-3 weeks afterwards, was sacked in the dressing room before the final game of the season. They made a massive mistake. And just to throw into the seismic nature of every Barca Bayern game, because it's without exception, that 98-99 group that they were both in with Manchester United, and I think Brøndby, well, it was Barca's centenary, wasn't it? The final was going to be held at Camp Nou, and Bayern beat Barca twice to make sure that Barca were third, didn't go through the group, and had to sit in their own stadium the next May for, wasn't it a dull final? I can't remember who won in 99, but I was sitting covering the match about 3 rows behind the De Boer brothers and Cocu and Kluivert, and they were watching the game as Bayern steamrollered. Sorry, Fergie, I know you don't be Manchester United for the large part of the game, and the Dutch contingent, not all Barca players at the time, but they left about 8 minutes before the end.
No way.
With with body language. The body language was, "Why is it United down there, not us? We should have been blah, 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 blah." And while they were in their cars, turning on the radio, push, bash, bosh, Solskjaer and Sheringham 2-1, and that showed them why they weren't there, because they didn't have that chutzpah.
Heading back out to their mansions in Sitges and, eating too much of the jamón de serrano.
Apple pie and custard. Yeah.
I mean, they're a cautionary tale about achieving too much too young, that crowd.
Listen, at the time that might be true, but they weren't hard, and they were in the middle of that desert that I talked about, where once Figo was taken away and by Florentino Perez and the Galactico era was restarted, Barcelona said, right, we're petrified of losing De Boer and Puyol and Cocu, and they weren't just giving them gigantic salaries. They started to pay them anything between 20,000 and 30,000 euros as an appearance fee each game, newly introduced in the contract to keep them during a spell where they went 6 years without a trophy. There was something rotten in the state of not Denmark, but Camp Nou. And, it was a funny time to be watching Barcelona. And it's leaner now. You couldn't throw 30,000 euros at a new player right now. Things are so desperately bad in Barca's finances. They've, since the market, or just in the last stage of the market, they've asset stripped out, not always because of their own fault. Elias going to Leipzig is disastrous. Watch out for Elias Moriba. I don't know if other people who've talked about him a lot in this show, but he's a gem. He's an absolute gem. Griezmann's gone to Atleti. As soon as he leaves, he starts scoring for France. But Emerson will be a decent player at Spurs, and he's better than Dest, who's injured and won't play tonight. There's a tight squad, and the trouble is, in the short term, I think it'll cost them. But the green shoots are really interesting. Ricky Puig should get more games. Again, 2 names that you won't heard much of. Gavi and Nico, both are in this squad. And Gavi recently made his debut at 17. Nico's 19. Nico's the son of Fran, the brilliant Deportivo La Coruña, sort of 10 who used to pad about the pitch and was in that Deport team that thrashed European champions AC Milan 4-0 up at the Riazor, that era of Tristan and Roy Mackay and Donato and all these beautiful players. That kid's coming through. Pedri's back from his holidays. There's a lot of extraordinary guys, that really exceptional young talent. We're a bit green at the moment, but are going to be fun for people to watch over the coming years. It's just that they're playing real grown-up, angry, hard, winning-oriented men in the Bayern team. Well, and Nagelsmann's going to enjoy his first visit to Camp Nou, I think.
Let's wait and see how the kids get on. There's a long tradition of some of those kids blossoming under these circumstances, so we can but hope. Graham, as ever, good stuff. Thanks a million.